Good evening. I'm going to be making a Canadian dish called poutine, and we always start off by washing our hands, right? So poutine is basically potato fries, cheese curds, and gravy. So we're going to start off by making the gravy because that's going to be the most difficult part. So in order to make our gravy, we're going to be making a roux. What we want is some beef stock, so we're going to start with that. We need 2 cups of beef stock. So, according to the directions on here, we're going to need 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces of water. So we're going to need 2 teaspoons of that for 2 cups. Grab our teaspoon. And our liquid measuring cup. And we'll fill it up to 2 cups. And the water's supposed to be boiling, so we're going to heat it up a bit. While we're doing that, we can start with our potatoes. Actually, no, we'll start with the roux. We're going to need some flour and some butter. And more importantly, a pan. Give this about a medium heat here. And we'll put our butter in there right away. Get that melting. So we need 2 tablespoons of flour to go in there with the butter. We'll let that melt a little bit. That's going along just fine. And as long as our water is warm enough, that beef stock should just dissolve right in there. Just like that. There's one. And 2. We'll put this away now. Won't be needing it anymore. Make sure to keep an eye on your roux going on over here. Make sure that butter and the flour are mixing. We'll get a spoon for this. Try not to spill too much. Make sure that you got all those chunks of beef broth dissolved in there. while we're waiting that to melt down, we're going to focus on our potatoes. So, that's going to end up going into our roux and then making our gravy. But those fries that we need, we're actually going to use potatoes. So, what we need is 2 pounds of potatoes, I believe. And we've got our good old russet potatoes here. We're going to open those up. And we have our own little scale. Just to make sure that we have 2 pounds. That's about a pound there. 8. Maybe we'll take a bigger potato there. Right there. So about 4 potatoes is going to be about 2 pounds. Alright, we can close up our potatoes, get them out of the way. Alright, our butter is pretty much all gone here. So make sure that this gets into a nice little mixture. It's going to look a little lumpy. That's alright. Alright. Turn that down a little bit. We're going to add this into our roux. So eventually here it's going to come to a boil. Turn it down a little bit, let it do its thing. Alright, so now we can focus back on our potatoes. We're going to peel them, and we're going to cut them up into a fry shape. So you gotta go and wash your potatoes. Now we could scrub them down, but since the skins aren't going to stay on there, it really doesn't matter that much anyway. Now we're going to peel our potatoes. Get our handy dandy peeler. Good measure, we'll wash them off again. Just keep stirring that gently. There's a lot of liquid in there. We want to keep things moving. It's starting to smell a lot like gravy. But still wait for this to come to a little boil. Just a little rolling boil. Just coming to a little boil there. So we're going to turn our timer on for about 12 to 13 minutes. Keep stirring that. We're going to turn the heat down a little bit. So now it's really going to cook down and give us that nice creamy gravy that we're looking for. Four nicely peeled beautifully washed potatoes there. And now we need to go about cutting them. We're going to grab ourselves a knife here, using the bear claw position, of course. We're going to cut this bad boy right down the middle. Stabilize that side a little bit. Alright. And now we're just going to cut it down into strips, just so it kind of resembles a fry. And since we don't want them to be too thick, we're going to go one more time down the side here. So, end up about like that. That'll work for us. See how we got some ugly spots in there? Just cut those right out because we don't want ugly fries. Alright, so there's one potato all chopped into our fry pieces there. I'll set those aside and keep working on the other ones. Got our big pile of potatoes there. Got our gravy going, and our water is hopefully quickly coming to a boil. Alright, as you can see, our gravy is really thickened up nicely for us here. Look at that. So, we're going to take that off the burner for a while. And that will wait. Our water has now come to a boil for our potatoes.